Hi everyone, I'm Ale. I'm here at Microsoft Build and I'm joined by Demitrius, who is the Senior PM for the Windows Package Manager team and has been there for over 5 years, correct? Yeah, okay. So I had the greatest pleasure to join their demo yesterday where they demoed the new WinGet configuration, and I'm excited for him to tell you all about it today. So can you tell us a little bit about what is WinGet configuration and why would developers use it?
Sure. So I'm sure you've joined a new team or started a new project and you went through that process of how do I get my environment set up and what are the dependencies, and your wiki is outdated or there's a new version of something. So the whole goal is to give you a single file that allows you to go in, run a command, and it will do whatever it has to get your environment set up so that you can build your project and get productive.
How can you get started with this? How can you produce a WinGet configuration file?
So right now it's a YAML file. You most likely have to write it by hand, which we know is annoying, but if you're using DevHome, you can go in, you can select some add some packages, you can pick a GitHub repo, and then generate a configuration file from DevHome. And we've just announced an experimental feature that allows you to start building one in WinGet. The goal is that you can run WinGet configure export, and you just get everything installed, all of it configured the way you want it, including all your Windows settings.
Awesome. Can you tell us about how they work?
Sure. So we're essentially parsing that YAML configuration file. We're pulling down PowerShell modules, normally from the PowerShell gallery, and then we're using PowerShell's desired state configuration, which has support for get, set, and test. And so we just call invoke DSE resource, and PowerShell handles all of that.
Very smart. How can someone author a WinGet configuration file?
So I would suggest going and taking a look at some of our samples. We've got a bunch of them. There's a link in DevHome that'll take you to the samples. Or you can go to aka.ms/dsc.yaml. We've got a bunch of samples there. And if you're not finding samples or examples of what you're looking for, just file an issue at GitHub and we'll create one for you.
How can I test or make sure that a WinGet configuration file is trustworthy or safe for me to use if I'm getting one from online?
That's a really good question, and you'll see a lot of scary warning text when you run the command. I would suggest going and taking a look at where it's coming from. Go take a look at all the modules in the gallery and make sure you understand who's publishing them, whether or not they're signed. This is kind of big, scary, powerful stuff.
Yeah.
So I would say, go verify and check it out, make sure you understand what's going on. And if you've got any concerns, try to run it in a Windows sandbox where it's not going to do anything on your main machine.
Well, that's a really good advice. And you briefly touched on about how you can use them through DevHome. What about dev drives?
So you can actually create a dev drive with a WinGet configuration file. And we're going to be releasing some updates to the modules for NPM, for Python's pip, and for NuGet to help you move those package caches from your normal C drive over to a dev drive so you get that increased performance.
Awesome. And how do you interact with your community and your users for, if people are trying them and there's a bug or there's a request or anything, how do you track those interactions with the community?
Pretty much everything I do is at GitHub. So I will file issues or create bugs or discussions. I also do some sentiment analysis, so I'll go look at Reddit or Stack Overflow or even Twitter. And I don't really care where a customer engages. If they've got an idea or a problem, I'll ask them to go file an issue, but if they don't, I'll go do it for them many times and just link back to whatever the communication was so that they get the credit for what they did.
Awesome. Now, throughout the time that you've been working in this team, what would you say has been the most challenging aspect of it, but also the most rewarding?
I think the most challenging aspect is there's just so much software out there that we want to go make functional and make it easy to use for customers, and we can't really go fix some of those problems ourselves.
Yeah.
And I would say, the most rewarding is when somebody says it just works. I don't even know why you want to talk about it.
Yeah. Do you want to share anything else with the community? Any last thoughts or recommendations on how to get started with their own WinGet configuration files?
I would say just go take a look at some of our samples and see if any of those match what you're looking for. Most of the Microsoft repositories have configuration files in them, and if they don't, file an issue and let us know so that we can go create that for you.
Thank you so much for watching.